All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. And the Giants are rolling. They put a spanking on the Phillies tonight, 11-4. We're going to break it all down for you, take your comments, and we'll get into it. But first, let us thank our sponsor of this show, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Give Chapman Law Group a call. You got a personal injury situation, you got a friend, family member, yourself, got an offender bender, slipped, hurt your leg, neck, whatever. Don't settle with the attorneys. Don't settle. I shouldn't say don't settle with the attorney. Don't settle with the insurance group. Call the attorneys. Call Chapman Law Group because they can help you get top dollar. Give Chapman Law Group a call, 415-613-9483, and let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. All right, everybody. The Giants are playing baseball, good baseball, and only one real fundamental mistake tonight, and that was Chapman, or not Chapman, I'm going on Chapman Law Group, was Bailey's kind of error and throw to first base. But, I mean, Giants played well and nothing. They came out of the gates ready to go. Nola was pitching in the first inning, and he couldn't get anything going. The game started with Yaz grounded out to short, but then Adames doubled to left. Lee singles him home to right, and it's 1-0 Giants. Jung-Hoo Lee remains hot. Chapman then gets a hit to center. Lee moves to second. Ramos walks. Bases are full. Wade strikes out. Then Wilmer walks, bringing in Jung-Hoo Lee. 2-0 Giants. And then Patrick Bailey comes through with a big clutch hit. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. And Chapman and Ramos scored. It's 4-0 Gigantes. And we're not even, Phillies haven't even come to bat. But then Robbie Ray, first inning, whatever happened, I don't know. It's the wind, the weather, whatever was going on, Robbie Ray could not find the plate. And he walked 4 in the first inning and walked 2 runs in. He walked Turner reached on an infield single, and then Harper walked, Schwarber walked, Castellanos flied out to right, then Realmuto walked, scoring Turner. Baum struck out swinging, and then Sosa walked, Harper scored, and then Marchand struck out swinging. So he got 2 outs by the strikeout. It was 4-2. Remained 4-2 all the way until the bottom of the fourth when Rojas doubled to left, and then Harper, after Turner flied out, homered to right field, and it was tied up at 4-4. I still felt good about this game, though, guys. I felt like the Giants this year, does it not feel different when they either fall behind or they give up a lead, like they're just going to bounce back? And, man, did they bounce back. So it's 4-4, and in the 5th inning, the Giants, Adames grounded out to third to start the inning. Lee doubles to right, another hit for Jung-Hoo Lee, and then Chapman comes through. I believe it was an 0-2 count to Chapman. He comes through. Good to see. He singles to center, drives in which would prove to be the winning run, Matt Chapman. In the top of the 5th. Phillies never scored again, and the Giants added 2 more on in the 6th. After Flores had grounded out, Bailey walked, Fitzgerald singled to center, Yaz walked, and now you have the bags full. Adames walks and Bailey scores on the bases loaded walk. And then Lee hits a sacrifice fly. Fitzgerald scores 7-4 Giants. And then for good measure, the final scoring ended in the top half of the seventh. The Giants started off with Ramos singling to right, and then Wade walks. Flores singles to center. Ramos scores. Wade moves over to third. Patrick Bailey struck out swinging, and then Fitzgerald doubles to center. Wade and Junior scores. Flores to third. Then Yaz doubles to center, and Fitzgerald and Flores scored. Fitzgerald can fly around the bases. 11-4. He almost catches Wilmer. Wilmer's actually just jogging home from third while Wade is just Fitzgerald's just flying around the bases. So really good to see. Really good ball game the Giants played tonight. And if you want to take a look at the actual box score of the evening, let's take a quick peek at that as the Giants Yaz goes 2 for 4. You know, Yaz is different. I was watching him a little bit right after the game on the post game, and Yaz has changed his approach. Rich Aurelia asked him if he did anything different because he's getting the balls, hitting them to left field. He's going with the pitches more. And Yaz, I thought his answer was great. He said he's tried to kill the ball the last few years every time he went up, and it just wasn't working. And he's decided to really work at just becoming a hitter. And that is refreshing. The guy is hitting .314, and he's playing really good baseball. I mean, if Yaz continues to play at this level, you're going to have a guy like him. You know, he's not trying to crush it and hit home runs. He's just becoming a hitter. The guy's an excellent right fielder, and he could prove us all wrong. This guy could have an all-star type year. And of course, Jung-Hoo Lee, what can you say? He's 2 for 5 tonight. So Yaz goes 2 for 4. Adames 1 for 5. Lee 2 for 5. Chapman 2 for 4. Ramos 1 for 4. Wade was the only one that didn't get a hit. He's hitting a paltry 102 right now. Lamont Wade really, really struggling. Flores goes 1 for 4. His batting average is down at 242, but he leads the majors in RBIs with 21 or 22, whatever he's got. Wilmer Flores leading the major leagues in RBIs. Bailey goes 1 for 4, and Tyler Fitzgerald 3 for 5 tonight. Probably the offensive star of the game. We'll get to that, the stars of the game, but really good ball game for the Giants. And Rick says, glad Dan no longer saying Crapman. I've never really been the guy to say Crapman. I've said it a couple times, but it's mostly some guys in the chat and some of my other hosts have used the name Crapman. I don't really want to call him Crapman because I don't think he's a crappy player. I think he's leaves a little bit to desired at times at the plate. As I said last night, he's going to come through sometimes. As all players will, but I wish Chapman would, change his approach. He did tonight. I don't know if he changed his approach or he just got the 0-2 pitch he liked. It was up, and he drove it into center, and good for him. So good to see it. So Lou Marson says, only Lou said it. All right, Lou. Hey, Lou, I did send you the link. I don't know if you got it, but if you want to hop in, you're love to have you if you want to hop in here. But guys, Giants baseball, they're now record-wise. Let's just take a look at the standings, shall we? I believe the Giants might be. Are they? Is that their 13th win or 14th tonight? Giants are 13-5. Okay, Padres continue to win. Wow, 15-4. But the Giants putting victories up. And guys, this is great. This is great. You look at the the Western Division, the Giants are in second place. And Dodgers got a game just starting here momentarily with the Colorado Rockies in LA. But yeah, George, exactly. Bullpen has been lights out this year. And the starting pitching, yeah, I'm not crazy about the starting pitching. I definitely think they're one of their better starting pitchers might be in the bullpen in Hayden Birdsong. Yeah, they're going to need a left-handed relief pitcher. You know, I still think Carson Whisenhunt is a guy that might be called on this year to be a left-hander out of the bullpen. He's got really nasty stuff, but he's only got really 2 solid pitches. That's not going to work 2 pitches to, I don't think. It could because his changeup's so good, but I think it works better in the bullpen. And we'll see how this goes. But, Giants have won. They did what they had to do, right? They at least at minimum they split the series, and tomorrow they go for the series win again on the road. This would be their 4th consecutive series on the road if they win tomorrow. And no, Rick, Casey will be playing first base tomorrow. You'll have Flores will be back probably at the DH, unless he's hurting or something. And we'll see where this thing goes. So what are you saying, Anthony? No, Dan, they are not doing the left and right stuff as much. I don't even know what you're saying, Anthony. Did I don't think I mentioned left, right. Where did that comment come from? Not sure. That's out of left field. If use a baseball term, that comment came from out in left field, did it not? What did I say about left and right? I don't know. Because you took it, off the shin. We'll see. I mean, if it's really painful and you can't go tomorrow, I would say maybe Wilmer. Gee, what would they do? I guess they could, if they want to do that. If Wilmer, I would say Casey. I think you would have Fitzgerald being the DH tomorrow if that was the case. If Wilmer's not in there, they'd put Koss at second, and they put Wilmer or Fitzgerald would be the DH. You'd have an infield of Schmidt, Koss, Adames, Adames, Chapman, and behind the plate tomorrow will be Huff, and then left field would be Ramos, center field Lee, right field Matos, and then if you really wanted to sit Wilmer, your DH most likely would be Fitzgerald. So Fitzgerald is going to be in the lineup. The guy's really having a great series here in Philadelphia. Really happy for the kid, Tyler Fitzgerald. Nice to see. He's super athletic. He's super fast. And you get that kind of production from your 9-hitter, and you're really cooking when you've got a guy like Fitzgerald. He's let me see what just real quick again. I forgot to pull that back up. I'm going to give you what Tyler Fitzgerald's come on, where'd that thing go? Okay, here we go. That's what we got to do. I'm going to give you Tyler Fitzgerald's batting average after tonight. It's definitely up there now. It's at 314. Yeah, he's at 314. Same as Yaz, both hitting 314. So my guess is they have the same number at bats and hits. That's kind of an unusual batting average to have at this time of the season. So this is a time of the year where your batting average can go up and down 50 points a night. So this is, but you know what? Anything over 250 for a lot of these guys can be a plus. Now, Fitzgerald hit 280 last year. If he hits anywhere near 280, this guy's really going to be a catalyst in the Giants offense. So yeah, Ben Bamboo, Fitz has been hitting after a meeting with Bonds last week behind the cages. Absolutely. That is true. Yeah, Barry has a way, man. Barry's one of the all-time great hitters, and he seems to, when he talks to people hit well after him. I don't know why. He was a batting coach with the Marlins, and not sure why that didn't last or work out. But yeah, loses tonight. Dan was a great gut check win, great win, and 6 for 16 with runners in score position, 3 2-out RBIs. Yeah, Giants are hitting well with runners in scoring position. Hey guys, this team just might gel and be cohesive enough to really weather the storm. Yaz is not trying to kill the ball. He's just trying to hit it where it's pitched. And, you go up there with a different approach and you're not trying to swing for the fences and you're just trying to make contact. Good things are going to happen. Adames only hitting 205. Once he gets going, that should be good. Jung-Hoo Lee, man, the guy's he's a really good hitter, hitting 338. Chapman goes 2 for 4. That's good to see. Ramos 1 for 4. Him and Chapman are hitting in the 220s, and Wade's hitting at 102. Flores hitting 242, but he's driving in runs. Bailey's hitting 184. So the only 3 guys that are hitting right now for average in the lineup are Jung-Hoo Lee at 338, and Yaz and Fitzgerald are each hitting 314. The rest are below 2. I'm just looking real quick, doing it. 242 Flores, the next one, and then it drops into the below in the 220s. 222 Chapman, 224. So what's a good sign is that the Giants are 13-5 right now, and they got some key guys that are really not hitting. But the difference, guys, in this team this year, hitting with runners in scoring position, they are coming through at opportune times. We all remember what the last 2 years are like. They could not hit a lick last 2 years with runners in scoring position. It makes you wonder if the hitting instructor that is no longer here, who was that? Who was the hitting instructor? Was it Justin Veal? I think that might be it. Justin Veal. Let me know in the chat. He's gone. And all of a sudden, the Giants look like a different hitting team. They look like a team, like just a team that is up there with an approach. And Anthony, who cares? He sucked. That means you don't know. Better just to not. I was looking for an answer. Oh boy. Anyway, Robert Rothberg, this team has pride and an abundance of talent. Talent. I don't know if it's an abundance of talent, Robert. I think it's a good collection that fits well as a team. I think there's more talented teams, if you want to know the truth. But they do have, it feels like to me that Buster has a good plan in putting everything together, and a certain type of player, certain type of attitude. Look, I've been around coaches most of my life, and my brother was a pretty very successful college basketball coach. And coaches love talent, right? They love to have the top talent. But if you talk to coaches, if you got talent, but they're not either team players or they don't have the right attitude, you'd much rather have a guy that has a little less talent, but gives it everything and is fundamentally sound. And you get a bunch of guys like that. That's how you have teams that win. Yeah, exactly, D-Load. And the World Series teams never had an abundance of talent. They always had an abundance of smart, fundamental baseball players, and that's what this team has. They're playing smart baseball. How about the catch tonight, Tyler Fitzgerald? That was tough conditions. That wind was swirling all over the place. He goes into shallow center field and catches the ball. Now, check this out. This is very hard to do, but he's running with his left hand. It might look like my right hand's up, but he reaches over as he looks up where the ball is and catches it. That is a very, very difficult play. And, you think, wow, was that skill, or did that ball just find the glove? You remember the catcher? I'm trying to remember who it was, and there's a highlight of it. They threw the ball back to the pitcher on the mound. It was about 4 years ago, and I think Buster threw it, and he threw it, and the pitcher wasn't even looking. And Buster went like, "Oh no, it's going to hit him in the head," and it went right in his glove. Sometimes that happens, but yeah, Giants are scoring runs. They are scoring runs. This is the second big rout on this road trip, right? They started off the road trip beating the Yankees 9-1, and then they come up and crush the Phillies tonight, 11-4. Oh, Peavy, that's right. It was Jake Peavy. Yeah, that was hilarious. That's an all-time highlight reeler. Robert Rothberg asked me, Dan, which player are you most impressed with? I would say right now that would be Jung-Hoo Lee. I'm very impressed with his approach. I just think he's the type of player that, as I said the other night, fans are going to really love Jung-Hoo Lee. He's wearing 51, right? You know who wore 51, right? The great Ichiro, right? I mean, he's wearing 51 because Ichiro was his idol. I see some similarities in his game, and this kid's only 26. My guess is his attitude, his drive, his desire, his joy that he plays with, kind of does he not remind you of a little bit of a version of Steph Curry, the way he plays the game? He just has fun out there. When's the last Giant you saw that just really went out there and had a lot of fun? That is really, really cool to see. I think if Jung-Hoo, if he has a great year this year in 25 and then follows it up and he starts 26 in the first half and he's playing great and he proves this all year long, and I'm ripping up that contract before the 26 season ends, and I'm just saying, hey, we're going to rework that, and I'm going to sign that guy to probably, he's got an opt-out in after the 27th season. I'm not going to let it get to that. If he has a really good year this year and has by the All-Star break, he's, like one of the top players in the game, I'm just going to rip that thing up and say, Jung-Hoo, we love you here. You love it here. The fans love you here. Let's make you a Giant for life. And I'm adding, he would be what, 27 next year. I'm adding, 8 years at least at $30 million a year. And I'm locking the dude up till he's 35, and I'm paying him star money. So Jung-Hoo Lee's my answer to that, Robert. And if you want to know who I look at as maybe who am I impressed with second on the team, I would say probably Yaz right now, believe it or not. I mean, Flores is off to, a really good start, but Yaz is, fundamentally sound in the outfield. You don't worry about a ball. When you see a ball hit to right field, it's kind of like a pop-up in the infield when Crawford was here, right? A ball goes out to anywhere in right center, down the line, in the air. Yaz is going to get to that, and you feel pretty confident with that. And at the plate, I really like his approach to the plate right now. And, he worked at making changes in the offseason. We were all, including me, saying, what are you doing, Giants? Buster, why did you sign this guy? $9.2 million. Should we ever really maybe question Buster? I'm sure Buster had a lot to do with this in the approach. Oh, no link, Lou. Hold on. Let me look and see if did it not go through. One sec. Yeah, Lou, I sent it at 6:52. 6:52. Did I not? Yeah. Check it out, Lou. It says it went through. I could try and send it again. Let me just send it one more time. There we go. Okay. So, Lee, the two lefties, Lee and Yaz, I'm very impressed. And look, I'm not afraid to admit if I'm wrong on a call. Hey guys, a lot of people, I saw some comments that said people were down, like in the off season. I had Dieter Kurtenbach on, and his opinion of Buster, that it was a mistake and da-da-da-da-da. And you know what? That's his opinion. And I love to have different opinions voiced on it. He made me think, and he made me think maybe he's on to something. Maybe Buster doesn't have the experience. But, as the offseason wore along, I thought, Buster's a winner. And really, really he just knows what he's doing. D-Loading, I'm going to let some people on here. I like to do about 30 minutes, which we're approaching, and then turn it over for the last 30 minutes. We'll bring in some people. So let me answer this question. Fossey, who are you least impressed with? Least impressed with? That's a great question. I would say Lamont Wade right now. Lamont Wade. Yeah, that's probably the easy one. He's not doing a lot offensively. Took a called strike 3 early I think it might have been in the first inning, like right down the middle. With, unusual, 2 strikes, you gotta protect. You got to at least foul that off, right? You got to at least foul it off. If you're looking, it was an off-speed pitch. I always, when I played, I'm going to do a little Dusty Baker here, okay? A little toothpick with Dusty, in honor of Dusty. When I had 2 strikes on me, I struck out enough, but I don't recall. I'm sure it happened a couple times in my playing days. It's been a long time, but I don't recall striking out a lot looking. And one of the things you have to do with 2 strikes, I would guess fastball, right? Because if it's a breaking ball, I have time to adjust and maybe foul it off and fight to see another pitch. But I don't understand hitters' mentality when they take a off-speed pitch. I don't know. But we'll bring in Lou to the stage. Welcome, Lou.
Sorry about that, Dan. I finally got it, so I apologize.
No worries. Thoughts on the game tonight?
I thought it was a nice bounce back game. Tell you the truth, it reminded me of Candlestick, that weather, bungled up fans. I think you bring up a great point. Big bounce back from last night, but I wasn't really worried, especially Philly never got the lead. I just didn't like Melvin really keeping him in. I know it's early in the season, you want to do it, but I probably would have taken him out because, it's hard. When you're up 4-0, to me, the most important part of pitching is when you score, it's the next inning, shutting them down. And I was really worried his thing was all over the place. And, but hey, most importantly is he kept him in the game. He didn't lose it. He kept him in the game, especially when it was 4-2 and then it was 4-4. They never got the lead. And then I thought tonight, what I wrote on the link is Giants hit in the runners scoring position. Unfortunately, hey, starting pitching, it's tough. Again, we're not pitchers. We don't know the conditions. He might have not really maybe had the feel of the ball because tonight it was weird. All fly balls were an adventure.
Oh, yeah, it was wild.
Maybe he just didn't have it. But I thought, you brought up a great point. To me, Lee's been outstanding. He's been sort of the surprise of the year, especially when you look, Chapman is only batting .222. And Adames is batting, $104, and he's the third place hitter for a reason. He's carrying the team right now. Without him.
Adames is batting 205.
Oh, 205. I thought it was worse than that. I'm sorry.
It's Wade that's hitting 102.
Yeah, Wade's hitting that far. So but that's 2, 4, and 5. So really, when you look at Lee hitting so well, he's really carried the team, especially when Fitzgerald's doing well.
Lee's been really unbelievable.
He's been dynamite, making contact. So I got to give him big thrill.
I'll say this tonight. I was getting frustrated with the first inning because Ray couldn't find the plate, but I think it was important that Melvin left him in there. He got 93 pitches out of him. He got 4. I think ideally he wanted to get 5, but at the end of 4, the score was what was it in the end of 4? Tied at 4. Yeah, it was tied at 4. So he got him out of there. But the reason I thought it was important that he didn't yank him early is the Giants still have another 11 games in the next 11 days. And you can't bring in a bullpen in the second, third inning. It's so early and you had to weather the storm. And I think leaving him in there to get through 4, that shortened the game a little bit. You had right after that, Trevino came in and pitched 2 innings. He got the victory tonight, 29 pitches. Duvall, look, I said this when Duvall struggled earlier. You don't put him in high leverage situations. Build his confidence back up. Let's see him pitch 5 to 10 innings of really good baseball in lower leverage situations. And then if you need to, because of circumstances, situations, you don't have other pitchers available to pitch in a high leverage, then Duvall might be ready. but I'm not. So really tonight they got 2 out of Trevino, 1 out of Duvall, and 2 out of Bivens. So they really didn't tax their bullpen. You still got tomorrow now. You've got Walker that can close. You've got Miller that can come back. You got Rogers. That's 3 guys in the pen. Who am I missing? Oh, Birdsong. I really don't want to see Birdsong tomorrow. I don't think you should be pitching Birdsong 2 innings every other day. Birdsong's not used to being a starter or a reliever since even last time he did it was in college. I think you got to avoid letting that guy pitch every other day if he's going to go a couple innings. If he goes 1 inning, fine. But if he's going to go 2 innings, I'd like to see him have 2 full days off. He's young. Let's not put this guy and make him, that type of a reliever yet. You got Rodriguez that can come back tomorrow too. So you got 4 guys that you can depend on tomorrow. So what you really need out of tomorrow is you need a solid 5 out of Hicks, and you hope you can get 6 out of Hicks. If you get 6 innings out of Hicks, a quality start, 6 innings, 3 runs or less, that's a quality start. You get that, and then you are rolling if you go into the 7th inning with a lead, because now you've got Rodriguez, you got Miller, you got Rogers, and you got Walker all available. So, hey guys, I am going to throw in the link as Lou carries on here. Lou, give us some of your other thoughts while I put the link out there.
Of course. Dan, one of the things I really want to commend the Giants, and I know the Padres are playing out of their mind, but they're 12-1 at home. We're 9-3 on the road. I'd rather be 9-3 on the road than 12-1 at home. So obviously the Padres have been at home almost the whole entire season, it seems like, and we've been on the road. And for us to be so close to them, it shows you how well we're playing. So, I think,
that's
a
good point. Giants have only had 6 games at home.
Yeah. So I think it's something big. And, I know San Diego lost for the first time. I know the Dodgers are going to be there. So, and it's sort of funny. The Giants have been playing so well that right now they're only the first wild card, which is, I know it's very, very early, but it's just sort of funny. So, again, hey, I've been against the Giants for the last couple of years, and I've been the one that, came up with the name for Chapman, but, I want to be wrong. Trust me. I don't want to be salty all the time, but the last couple of years, the Giants haven't earned me not to be that way. So, I can't be like Robert where, I think we're going to go 150-12. I just try to be, real, I guess is the best way. And, I'd love for I admitted, I made bets about the Warriors. I'm happy the Warriors are in the playoffs. I want the Giants to be good. I want this to last all year. And guys, if the chat gets on me, I deserve it. But, it's still early, and Giants are playing good ball right now. And the best thing is I like these games where they start about 3:30 or 4. Yeah. And then we can do these post games after where it's not super late. It's not midnight.
I agree. And this is my favorite time to do the post game because then I get an evening too,
Yeah, exactly. But I just wanted to say, I thought tonight, big gut check win. And, if we can get Hicks to go tomorrow, I think it's amazing. And tonight was the first night on Baseball Tonight where they were talking about the Giants. When you can go 4 road games, 4 road trip series, and you win 4 in a row, that's unbelievable. People don't forget, Philly had not lost a series since last August at home. So if we can take 3 out of 4, that's a huge statement, not just now, but that's all over the major leagues because everyone thinks it's Philly and LA really. That's a huge step. So I wanted to bring that up.
I said series, and my Apple phone, it goes by SIRI. I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
But she goes, I said, my phone's next to me. I said, you were trying to get the word out. And I said, series. Yeah. And she goes, like exactly. Pops up. Like, I'm not talking to you. Okay. We bring in deloading. Deloading. Welcome to the show.
My man, deloading.
What's up, guys?
Hey. What's up? Your thoughts tonight?
Um, I just think it's super impressive how they're hitting right now, getting absolutely 0 from their first base slot. Like, that's huge. The thing with Wade, I really don't like his approach right now. It feels from a visual standpoint that he's lost a little bit of speed on his swing, and his
Mm.
whiff rate seems to be a little bit higher this year. Uh, it also kind of feels like he's just looking to walk every single at bat, even when there's people in scoring position. It looks like he's kind of hesitant to swing in some circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you
That's good.
guys think, but
That's a good analysis there. I think Wade has been known to have a great eye. I mean, he at through April last year into May, he had a 490 on base percentage, which was like ridiculous, right? I mean, you're
Mhm.
talking all time great, and most of that was through walks. And he did get some hits, timely hits, but he has been known to have a great eye and work the count. You know, him and Brandon Belt are the 3-2 guys, right? Always with a full count. But he does seem, when you become that way, when you're not going up there aggressively, but you're looking more for a walk, there is a mentality. But when you go to the plate, it's, baseball is such a mental game that if you go up there with the attitude, I'm going to crush the, guy comes in anywhere, you're getting a hit. More often than not, you get a hit. But if you go up there and you say to yourself, "Oh man, this guy's, I've never been able to hit this guy. This guy's got, I just don't see the ball well, or he's nasty." You're probably not getting a hit. And if you're going up there looking for a walk, a lot of the times, you're not going up there with a mindset to be aggressive as a hitter. And the one thing I love about Jung-Hoo Lee, you could see he's a hitter. He's going up there, he's not afraid of getting 2 strikes on him. He's just, I'm hitting. And there's a different mentality, I think. Jung-Hoo Lee's going up there looking to hit the ball, right?
Mhm.
Lamont Wade looks like he's going up there to take as many pitches and get ahead in the count, like he's trying to get count leverage, and then he'll think about hitting. Different approach.
Yeah, with
And
Jung-Hoo Lee at this point,
Oh,
sorry.
no, I was just going to say maybe he hasn't bounced back from last year's injury. If you remember the last part of the season, he
Sure.
was struggling. And, he's 5 for 46 in 15 games. And I think he's one of these guys where, and I think the difference between the Giants this year, if he continues to struggle through May, they'll make a change. Farhan might not have made a change. They're going to keep him going. But that's the one good thing about the Giants' depth, where they're not gonna keep the same guy if it's going to bring him down. You can't have 3 guys really in the lineup that aren't hitting at one time. So I think, and again, Lee's not going to be hitting like this all year. I think we sort of take it for granted that this guy's going to be batting 333, but we're going to need him. And if not, I think, this is where Dan's favorite player might have to step up, and he might be the guy,
Ramos?
because, Ramos, or, I mean, look at Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald on the last homestand really wasn't hitting. He sat with Bonds, boom, 3 for 5. But, I agree with you. He always seems, and every time he's up, he's 0-2, 0-1, 0-2. But, this was the same at the end of the season. He just might not be the same player. And maybe this injury that hit him last year, we may never see him. We just don't know. But you got to remember, it's only been 15 games. So, give him a little time,
18
see how
now.
he goes. Yeah. But, with the 17 and 17 days, we're going to need him, and I think, as I've said all season, by the Kentucky Derby time, you're going to know how this team is. So you got to give them just a little time. They've only been playing, 15 games he's in. That's it. So, maybe this is his one slump for the year.
Lou, 18.
Yeah. No, he's only played in 15 games.
What I mean. You're talking about him.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I mean. Yeah, that's all I mean. So, just give him a little time. But I completely agree, deloading. He's batting defensively, where you see Jung Lee up there is thinking about offensively. The difference is he's almost scared he's not going to come through, where Lee's saying, okay, what's the circumstance of the game? I need a fly ball to score a run. Hey, I need a gap to get the run home. I need to make contact. Completely different. And I agree. And I think you see it a lot because one bat's right in front of the other, basically.
Yep.
So, but keep going. What else did you think?
No, I was just gonna tag on to what Dan said. I'm almost kind of surprised when Jung-Hoo Lee strikes out at this point. His back control is so good that when he actually like whiffs on that strike three, I'm kind of shocked because he just seems to always put it in play no matter what.
Right. He's got very great bat to ball skills.
Yeah,
So,
and contact. That's what Dan's wanted all season. Someone that can make contact. Dan, me and Dan have spoken about. He's a contact guy. He puts the ball in play and puts the pressure on the defense.
Your contact guys on this team, the big three, are Lee, Flores, and Matos. Those are the guys that have the lowest K rates, but they're not all going to be. It seems like Wilmer's going to be, being the majority of the DH. I really do love the idea of them keeping Flores off the diamond and resting his legs, just making him a full-time DH. You could see he's a hitter. He could focus on that. He doesn't have to go out and, work that extra time on his feet. You think about it. He's sitting watching the game, or maybe he goes and rides a bike in the clubhouse, something or around the corner just to stay loose. But he's not out on the field. Part of Wilmer's problems has been, lower body injuries, the knee, whether it be, and he's very slow. He's very slow. He's not a bad fielding first baseman, but Casey, in a week and a half learning the job, is already, to me, a better fielder. You've seen it on, and he's only going to get better because he's a natural guy. In fact, I think Casey would have had that Bailey throw tonight from first base. It was not a good throw, but it was an easy hop. Phillips says Wade should have had that scoop that Bailey threw him. As far as scoops go, that looked pretty easy to me. I thought that was that was a pretty.
How do you
easy
even lose the ball on that? Like how that was like a strike down the middle, but the ball popped out.
That was concentration. I think Wade's pressing. I think Wade.
No, I meant Bailey.
Bailey, yeah. Oh, okay.
Because he had to make that throw because the ball popped out of his glove on like a strike down the middle.
That happens a lot to Bailey for some reason. Bailey is so focused a lot on framing.
Yeah, that's what I was.
He's the quickest framer I think I may have ever seen, because he's actually framing as he's catching
The ball's going in. Yeah.
And sometimes they'll tick off the glove. If you notice, he has a lot of that.
Mhm.
It'll just roll away. It's because he's trying to steal that strike, as he did the other night on Monday night against JT Realmuto. That was the worst call I've seen in a long time, but it was also a credit to Patrick Bailey framing the ball. And that was a strike because of Patrick Bailey. We welcome in Dallas to the show. How's it going, Dallas?
Pretty good. How's it going?
Great. What's your thoughts on tonight's game and this road trip so far?
Well, I mean, it's hard to complain about it. It's been awesome. Lately it's been the starting pitcher has an inning where they struggle or they give up some runs and then the offense keeps them in it, or they end up winning the game. Today, the offense got off to a hot start, and then that gave like room for Robbie Ray to struggle his way through 4 innings, and they never really looked back. It was not a very typical Giants game.
Yeah. Mitchell and Ness coming in, throwing shade already. Mitchell And Ness, we already discussed the Fitzgerald catch. What's wrong with my, hold on here. He says
He's talking about the one where he had to fall down and to make the catch going.
Yeah, we already talked about it.
Okay, yeah.
We talked about it being an incredible catch. And
why would you be mad about it though?
Yeah, then he said he's coming at me saying Dan must be punching air. I don't understand his commentary. I mean, I'm thrilled that Tyler's playing better. I mean, Fitzgerald.
Is it a Schmidt thing?
Yeah, it's a Schmidt thing. One of the things you guys got to understand, I think Casey is a really dynamic fielder, but Fitzgerald still has potential to be, an incredible spark plug to this team. And I love him batting ninth in the order. And, one of these nights I will get both Casey and Fitz on the show together because they're really good friends. Okay. I talk to Casey a lot and, him and Fitz are tight. Okay. So, Casey's pulling for Fitz and Fitz is pulling for Casey. My whole thing is I think there just needed to be room for Schmidt somewhere on the diamond. It looks like, at least they're platooning him at first base and he's getting playing time. I think there's a possibility if he continues to hit the left-handed pitching, and if he gets an opportunity in games to barrel up some right-handers, and if Wade continues to struggle, you might see Casey getting more playing time against right-handers as well.
I might start tinkering with that right away. I mean, it's getting a little bit crazy, but with Wade. But Fitzgerald, I mean, I wonder if this is going to be how it is with him, where there's a long period of quiet and then these incredible player of the weeks where he just goes crazy. And like, I've never seen a batting average increase that much, in a week. It's like
he was 100 and something. Now he's 314. It appears he hit 11 homers last year in 17 games.
Right. So is this going to be how it is with him, or is eventually we're going to see a little more even output where maybe he's not, Barry Bonds, for a week, and maybe he's, someone a little more middle of the road, but more consistent.
I don't
know.
The consistency would be nice. It's funny you mentioned that, and you said, are we going to see a little more consistency? I want to show you something that's kind of consistent, but not in a great way, with another player that came to my mind when you said, are we going to see maybe it's different this year. This is Patrick Bailey. In his rookie season, remember he was hitting close to 280 and he was tearing it up the first half, and then he ended up at 233. Then last year he did the same thing. He ended up at 234. Okay. Pretty similar batting average, on base percentage, pretty close, slugging pretty close, OPS pretty close. We saw a pretty consistent first 2 years of Bailey. Now this year, he's doing the opposite. So maybe Bailey will give us, maybe we'll see a second half resurgence of Bailey, and he'll give it to us when we really need it. That would be, but Bailey's,
or maybe he'll be the Fitzgerald of next week, and then he'll be back to his average.
Right. Bailey can get hot. I just don't like Bailey as a right-handed hitter.
He had a little success though. He hit a home run or something the other day, which was encouraging to see, because at the beginning of the season he was 0 for 20 or something from the right-hand side. Got off to a real abysmal start, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, they want him to stick with it. I mean, they're not ready to do the JT Snow and just abandon the right-hand side yet, but maybe someday that'll be in his future, because I know it's a lot of work to maintain both of those swings.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, I have a question about Bailey. Do you think maybe because he's the man now, maybe there's just so much pressure, Golden Glove, last year wasn't a fluke, now that he's the main thing, and really he doesn't have competition behind him, maybe just, we got to give him time, or maybe we put him on such a plateau, and when it really comes out, he's just really an average offensive player, but a great defensive player. Because you got to remember, he has no competition. He is the man.
And I think with Buster in charge now, and Melvin, you're talking two catchers, Hall of Famer and Buster, and a backup in Melvin, but a very a successful manager in the big leagues for many years. I think Bailey is learning more now. I mean, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but you get rid of that old regime. I'll just say it that way. And you have baseball people running the show now. And when baseball people take over, there's a different lingo. There's a different vibe. There's a different, and there's just, you saw Bailey tonight go to the mound and talk to Ray. This is a maturing Patrick Bailey who's like, okay, I'm the leader of this defensive unit when I'm out here. This is my team. I'm the guy. I've got to step up. And I think you're going to see him. He's a quiet guy. I've talked to Patrick. He's a very quiet guy. And he's a really good dude. He is, he's not boisterous or anything like that. He looks kind of laid back. If as you watch him, he doesn't get flustered. He's not demonstrative, but he's learning now that this is because of the leadership. They're saying, okay, Patrick, just take over, go do your, you got to step up and be the guy. And he doesn't necessarily have to hit great. If he hits 235, 240 as a catcher and plays Gold Glove defense, but if he hits 235 to 240 more consistently, what we don't want to see is 300 and then 150, and then it balances to 2. You want to see a guy that just hits about 24% of the time. He just gets a hit. You don't want to see this wild swings. And that's what we've seen of him his first 2 years. So, and I do think some of his hitting struggles could be that he's focusing a lot more on the pitching staff this year. Because
Could be.
This is a pitching staff that is going to need some additional coaching. You've got starters in Roop and Hicks that are a little bit, they're just learning starting pitching. And then you've got Verlander, who's the, savvy vet that's been there, but his stuff is probably not, it looks to be that he's a lot more hittable these days, it appears, than he was in his heyday.
Yeah, well, he's lost some control for sure.
He's lost the command where he's not hitting those corners where he used to pinpoint them.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes away, if he can't do that, then he's got to come in a little bit more, and his stuff just doesn't, even though he's throwing 96, if you watch him when he used to pitch in his, heyday, you would say, a little more movement on the ball. He's 42.
Sure.
So we'll see where this goes, but
I do think they're using Bailey in situations like he pitched on the Roop start twice. I've seen them bring Bailey into Huff's game when Birdsong comes in, so that Bailey's catching Birdsong, like guys where you could use some help on the corners, with the frame job, a little more confidence in your catcher. If, they bounce one in or whatever. So I think they're kind of picking their spots, not so much with whether it's lefty or righty, but it's more about which pitcher is pitching determines whether Bailey's in the game, as opposed to which side of the bat they want him hitting. So I found that interesting.
Yeah. Let me see. Just going through the comments here. I see some comments in there about Philip talking about people juicing. Absolutely, people were juicing back in the day. I mean, you see the list that John Heyman put out on Twitter. There was 103 names, and then he quickly pulled it back. I got a snapshot of it. Pretty amazing, all the players on that list. Those are people that baseball had either tested or something, and years ago, remember that list was made kind of hush hush, and then so it got put out. Let's see here. I'm looking here. Mitchell and Ness coming back. What is this here? His bold take was having Fitz make the All-Star. Dan knows what he's doing. I called him. Not sure what you're really doing there, talking about. I don't remember your take about Fitz making the All-Star team. I don't see that, but it's not a bad bold take. Fitzgerald, if he played to his potential, his athleticism, it's elite. I mean,
if he continues to play like this week until the All-Star break, he'll make the All-Star team.
Yeah. I don't know if he can do that. He's been making contact this week, but he does have a history of striking out a lot. Some other comments in here. Giovanni. I might not, after this comment, Giovanni, I might have to just not let you comment, because I don't know
sure
where
that Giovanni isn't just a Robert burner account.
No,
have we tested that?
No, Robert's too nice of a guy. Robert doesn't have that in his DNA. Giovanni.
Of course, there's an in-between. You can't just be a Giants homer all the time and sing their praises, win or lose, whether you like what they're doing or not. You just have to watch the game on the field, watch what the team is doing. If you like what the team is doing, if you like the product that's on the field, then that's what you're going to say. If you have criticisms over parts of their game, or a huge part of their game, as has been the case in the last couple of seasons, then you're going to have to say that. At this point, they're playing extremely well, so it's hard to criticize.
Right. What do you want me to do? Come on here and keep my you want me to talk like I talked the last 2 years in 23-24 season? How many people would be listening if I was just sitting here ripping the Giants right now? I'd sound like a complete idiot. I told you at the beginning, I said they were an 86-win team this year. That's obvious that I think going into the season, I predicted them to be much better than they were. I hope I'm wrong and they win over 90 and they make the playoffs. But for me to come out here and rip look, anybody who's worth their weight in gold in any profession, especially in sports media, your opinion is going to evolve as the season evolves. It just does. Okay. You don't sit here and say, this is the greatest team from day one, and then middle of the season, they're in a 10-game skid and you just keep saying the same thing. Okay. You listen to sports talk radio ever? When things are going great, people are going crazy singing their praises. And when things go bad, everybody thinks the sky's falling. I like to keep a little balance. And if you listen to the game last night or the show last night, I said they lost the game. Nothing to be ashamed of. They lost to the Philadelphia Phillies on the road, and they were in the game. It was a competitive game, and you chalk it up. It's a loss. What am I going to do? Rip them? They didn't play that bad. What I did get upset with, and I'm going to point it out, I got upset with the 3-0 pitch to Harper. I tweeted out that they should be putting him on at that point. They had a man on third. You know what? JT Snow tweeted the same thing 20 minutes later. Why are we pitching to Harper 3-0? Okay, I didn't like that decision. I didn't like leaving Verlander in the game last night in the 6th inning when he gave up 2 hits. I thought that Melvin was trying to get a personal win for Verlander than he was get the win for the team. That's the only problems I had last night with them losing. And to say that, they might have lost anyway. It's like, so, yeah. Listen, Mitchell and Ness, I'm about ready to throw you out of here, okay? You didn't come in here in the beginning and hear me talking about Fitzgerald. I do not dislike Fitzgerald. I like Tyler Fitzgerald, okay? And for you to come on here and continue to put this garbage out, I'm about ready to just toss you, okay? You're testing my patience now, okay? That's all I got to say to that.
Just so much vitriol after a great Giants win against the
Yeah.
Phillies. It's crazy.
This guy's, my love for Schmidt. Look, read my tweets.
Contrary to what Dan thinks, I think Fitz has been playing great this last week. So,
yeah. I've only said Fitz was the player of the game tonight and the other night. So, I don't get it, but look, do I like Casey Schmidt? Yeah. Do I let my my like for him skew my opinion? No. If you read my tweet last night, I said he may or may not be an everyday player, but you got to at least say he crushed the ball last night at 106 and 110 miles an hour, his first 2 at-bats. I said he's making the most of his opportunities, okay? He's got a great glove. He's a guy that's a perfect guy to have on this team because he can play third, short, second, first, and he can hit really well against left-handed pitching. He needs to improve his game facing right-handed hitters, and that's just a fact. I don't know what else.
He's never had a shot to be an everyday player.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't had a shot.
He's come on a team. He's here. He got a little playing time, and then they signed a third baseman to a 7-year deal, locking out his natural position. And since then, he's done whatever the team has asked, played whatever position. Now he's playing first base. And I think he will find more playing time there because that's what the team needs right now. And he can play anywhere.
Let me address this and we'll move off of this. You're holding people accountable. I don't like fans that rip and hate on a team, but when team starts winning, they jump on the bandwagon. Look, I am a fan, but I'm also a media member I do content. Okay. I'm not here to be a homer and sit here and be, if the last 2 years, all I did is sing the praises of the Giants franchise, I don't think I'd have the subs I have. I don't think people would be tuned in watching this to get Giants content if all I did was sing praises to a crappy organization the way it was being run. Okay. And as a fan, if you want to be a fan that way, that's your prerogative. You can always sing their praises, even if they're great. And if you don't think, and if they're doing crappy and you never want to, that's your right as a fan. That's not the kind of fan I am. I want the Giants to win. And sometimes when a team is playing crappy and is not good, you want what's best for the team. So you want to get rid of the trash. You want to get rid of the garbage. I've used the analogy. If you have a daughter that's about ready to marry a creep that you know is going to destroy her life, you're going to do what you can to prevent that. So for 3 years, I was calling for Farhan to be fired because I said the Giants organization cannot win with this man in charge. And you know what? I'm glad I did it. And I I hope I had a very, very small part, because my voice is much smaller than other people in the media. But I hope those comments that we came on here for 2 years, we were the first ones saying it. Nobody was saying it. And then finally, other people started coming around. So, yeah, if I think the Giants are headed in the wrong direction, I'm going to say it because I want them to win. I've been a fan probably longer than you've been alive, Giovanni, is my guess. I've been following the Giants since 1968. Okay, that's enough of that. And we'll move on. We'll start paying attention to the people that are actually educated fans in this chat. Let's see. Let's move on. You guys got any thoughts on this ball club at 13-5? Is this a team that, in your opinion, can keep it up and win can they win 90 games this year? Of course they can. Do you think they will?
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, my God, we're not even in May yet. The one thing I love about this chat, it's the flavor of the week. When they're playing good, they criticize. When they're playing bad, they criticize. But that's what makes a chat. Guys, we've been saying it all year. We've only played literally 3 weeks. That's it. Long way to go. Let's just get consistency. And, once we're in the middle of May and June and July and the Giants are playing this well, it's going to be a great year, great excitement ahead. But again, it's so early, like what me and Dan talked about. Everyone talked about, the Padres are ahead of us. The Padres have been at home. A big difference. They've been at home 13 games. We've been on the road 12. So to me, between the Padres and the Giants have had a better start. And again, you guys got to remember the Dodgers, who have more pressure on them than everybody else in the league, don't worry. They will be there too. And then we'll have to see when the Giants, have the face-to-face against the Padres and the face-to-face against the Dodgers. We'll see how good we really are. But right now, hey, I'm loving it. There's no reason to be negative. We're playing good ball. They're fun to see. But we just got to be consistent. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's kind of funny. I think people are been listening for a couple of years, and they want because I was critical of the Giants, somehow they don't think I was a Giants fan. It doesn't matter what you really think,
But Dan, you were criticizing because you were a fan. You realized the Giants need to do a major change. Even with Buster, okay, you can do a major change, but we need also different players, And again, all of us, when they picked up the 4, including Yaz, we were saying that's what we're doing. Now, again, we don't know if Yaz is going to do it. We've only played, like we've said, 3 or 4 weeks. Yaz has had great times. Fitzgerald's had great times. It's about consistency. The one thing Dan pointed out about Bailey is the last 2 years have almost been identical. That's why they always say with these ball players, if you turn over their baseball card and you go the last 6 years, they're almost all consistent. Baseball doesn't lie. You play basically 9 months, and by the end of the 9 months, usually the stats are all pretty much the same. But it's all about consistency.
You know what, Dallas? You just might be right. That does sound a lot like Robert there.
I think
I know it's not Robert, but they're just similar in different ways.
Yeah.
Different ways. But I like what Philip has to say here. He says, and I agree. I do think with each win they gain more confidence. Hope is a very scary thing, and it could carry them a long way. Absolutely. It's important. It's very, very important for teams that really have not won and have not learned how to win to start winning. That's why this spring training was very important for them to come out and really change a lot of the vibe, and that they just had a mentality of, just keep fighting. A team like the Warriors, to use an analogy of basketball, teams that have won, when they start losing like they were losing earlier in the year, they have that fallback that, hey, we've won before. We know what it takes to win. We're going to be there at the end. And we'll see where it takes them. But the teams that get into that don't have that history and they start losing, we see teams fall apart and fade. And, Bob Melvin has had a career where, like any manager, has had winning seasons and losing seasons. You look at Bruce Bochy's overall record, he's got over 2,000 wins, but I think he has over 2,000 losses, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe somebody can look that up. But Bob Melvin has had some very successful division winning teams. Okay. With the A's, he had a couple of 97 win teams. His first year managing the Mariners, he won 93. So Bob Melvin has had that, So I think there is that factor that, and no manager, coach, head coach, whatever it is going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. Okay. And we're sitting back here. We've got the luxury of making decisions in our mind with no pressure, right? We're not in the heat of the moment in the dugout, and there's a 3-0 count to Harper, and it's a tight game. And in fact, can't remember what the score was. Maybe it was 6-4 at the time, whatever it was, but gives up the 2-run homer. We can look back and go, oh, just go ahead and put him on. And he probably should be able to do that, obviously, as well. And that's why I was kind of critical of it. But at the same time, we don't know all the details of everything. So I'll just leave it at that.
Bochy is 10 games under 500 as a manager in over 28 seasons.
Oh, wow. 10 under?
Yeah.
Wow.
He is, now I've lost it.
What's he got? Over 2,100 victories, right? About 22?
2181 wins, 2192 losses.
So he's likely to lose 2,200 before he wins 2,200.
Yeah. With the Padres, he was under 500. With the Giants, he was exactly 500. And with the Rangers, he's been a winner at 522.
Well, yet he's won 4 world championships and is not our sports world that we live in here in America. What is always the argument? How many chips has he got? Who's the greatest? Who's the GOAT? Well, how many chips has he got? Well, let's give Robert Horry the GOAT status. How many has he got as a player? Like 8, 7?
He's 8, I think.
Yeah. I that argument always drives me crazy. There is something to it if you maybe are the leader of the team, like Steph. Guys like him and Kobe that lead you to championships. MJ, but if you're on a great team, like, some of those Laker teams that had Magic and Kareem and Worthy and Michael Coop. I mean, you had 4 or 5 Hall of Famers in your lineup. So you better win some titles. Yeah, Michael really carried, if you look about the Bulls, I mean, all he had was Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
As a star.
So, Dan, when I'm looking at this team this season, I know they're not going to continue to win at this clip. It's like, 722, that's winning 117 games. That's fantasy land. So they're going to come down to earth. But even if they were to go 500 the rest of the year, that's 85 wins because they've already played 11% of the season. So I don't think that'll happen. So I think it's going to be, I could definitely be in the 90s. I would say it probably would be.
Well, that's why it's so important to get off to a really good start. What's their winning percentage right now?
722.
Yeah, obviously not going to
especially
play it.
especially with the majority on the road too. Like they haven't even played that well at their home park. So like if they can just sustain that pace and get back to playing like solid ball at Oracle, I think they'll be solid.
You know, guys, and I said this. I said play 500 play 500 ball on the road and play 600 at home, and you win 90 games. They might do the opposite. They might play 600 ball on the road because they are showing themselves to be a pretty good hitting team right now. And they don't hit well at Oracle though.
Right.
It's
But
just
that will probably change. I mean, historically they've always played pretty well at home. I think what they do need is a long sustained homestand where they can get a little confidence in that place. Like Adames doesn't seem like he's comfortable there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Lee, I don't think, maybe he feels at home with all the people cheering for him. I don't know if he does, but it seems like at this point it's a little cold and a little they haven't hit their stride at home yet. So I guess we'll have to see when it comes back around.
I'm trying to make sense of that comment, but by instant, what does that mean? Seriously, their offense is that in sarcasm? Maybe. I'm assuming that's sarcasm.
I think their offense has been better on the road.
Absolutely. I don't know if he's sarcasm or is he.
No, I think he's being serious.
Well, a lot of these home runs in Cincinnati and in Philadelphia and in Yankee Stadium, they wouldn't be home runs. They'd be outs. And caught at the warning track.
Right. That's why it must be so difficult to hit in Oracle, even though it's a spacious park. You would think that there would be, Jung-Hoo Lee's been hitting the ball quite a bit down the right field line. Mm-hmm. You would think he'd lead the league in triples if he starts doing that at Oracle, because so many right fielders play triples alley to protect the triple there. I mean, right. Lee's going to be at second base by the time the right fielder gets to the ball. If he hits one down the line.
We may see some of those. Yeah, we may see that happening.
And they are I think top 6 in home runs this year, I believe, but they also are hitting the gaps a lot and playing like small ball. You would think that would kind of even out at home and that would translate better as the season goes on.
Yeah, you know what? I think what we will do is let's take a peek at that. Let's take a look at the Giants in home runs here, and we'll pull this up together here. Let me just no home runs tonight. Obviously, the park tonight the wind was ridiculous. There were some balls that looked like they might have gone out off the bat, but they weren't even close. Okay, can you guys see those stats there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me pull up these home runs here. You said you thought they were 6th. Let's see. I haven't even. Okay, they are tied for 6th. So they've got a total of
21.
21. Yankees, of course. Oh, Yankees and Dodgers. Wow, surprise, surprise.
Dodgers put up a 7 spot in the first inning tonight.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh,
but now it's 7-6.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, Rockies just put up 5 in the third.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. So the Giants, if we look at their overall, let's take a look at their this is good to do. I haven't even looked at their batting average as a team.
It's one of their worst team overall stats.
Okay, so they're hitting
at all of them.
226. Okay, so they're 19th in batting average, but I would think they're up there in RBIs because they've been scoring. Let's take a look at their runs batted in.
Yeah, the run differential.
Oh, they're 5th.
Plus
they're 5th in RBIs right there, 85.
Yep.
Now that doesn't count. I don't know if that counts tonight.
I don't think it does.
It does. I don't think it does. So they're going to move up because they might pass St. Louis and Arizona tonight, depending on. I know Arizona won earlier, but I think their score was. I think they only. What did they win? Like 5 something? I think. I'm not sure. But okay, so they're knocking the ball around. That's good. That's good. And then, of course, if you look at their pitching, they're obviously wins, but their ERA. Let's take a look at the ERA for.
It's actually 6th as well.
Okay, 3.44. Yeah. Look at the Mets. Wow, 2.34. The Mets. I thought they were going to have a really bad rotation. The Mets, with all the injuries that they had, Manaea, and then someone else, and then they lost Severino. Wow. Pretty good. Pretty good. No, it's nice. Don't you think it's nice to finally hear the Giants getting talked about nationally? And you look at some of the MLB rankings, Bleacher Report, they're all putting the Giants in the, top 4, 5, 6 in that range. Everybody's still putting the Dodgers 1. I think eventually you might have to look at the Padres. Padres are playing good, and it's going to be it's going to be fun. I think this is going to be a fun year, whether we take it all the way home, getting into the playoffs and advancing, or we just miss out. We're going to be playing meaningful baseball games throughout the whole year. And as a fan, I mean, do we want them to win the World Series? Yeah, but how often does that happen, right? But don't you as a fan at least want to be like watch meaningful baseball in September? I mean,
Absolutely.
There's no more exciting time than watching a team and maybe that we'll see, but I think all 4 teams that are up there in the West right now are all going to be fighting it out. And I don't think the Giants should be afraid of the Dodgers. I don't know. The Dodgers usually don't play to their stride until the second half. July, they start picking it up right around the All-Star break, and then they just seem to win almost every night afterwards. They got off to an 8-0 start this year, but I don't like the Dodgers defensively. I think the Giants are a better defensive team than the Dodgers.
Giants said, they're ranked number 1, and all of them will be
Wow.
in fielding percentage, defense.
The Dodgers have too many hitters, and they don't have places to put them. They just have to, hey, Gar, you go here.
Yeah. I mean, Mookie Betts is a great player, great athlete, and he can make the spectacular play and he can make the common play, but I don't think he's an everyday shortstop come September. I don't think the Dodgers I think they're a better team when he's out in the outfield, right field. You find a good, solid shortstop. I mean, Muncy's not a good third baseman, okay? He's not. I mean, you got Mookie Betts, who's kind of out of position, and then you got Max Muncy, who's kind of out of position. Max Muncy is, on most teams, he's probably your DH, but you got Ohtani. Like you said, Dallas, you got all these hitters and they're just trying to find positions for him.
I mean, that's like one of the most ridiculous things to complain about is you have Ohtani clogging up the DH spot, so you lose that flexibility of being able to move guys around because the best hitter in the game is just always there. It's like a great problem to have, but it does limit what they can do with the rest of the guys.
Right, because you cannot. If you want Ohtani in there, you can't give another guy a day off and say, okay, we're going to put you in the DH today.
That's a sacrifice if you do that.
Yeah. You're getting worse by taking Ohtani out of there. So we'll see. And I think the Dodgers are going to have injury bugs that's going to hit them. It'll hit every team. Hopefully the Giants can dodge the major stuff. If they can, they're going to be in the fight all year long. And I'm going to save my playoff prediction. I'll say they'll make the playoffs if they're in it and they make a key acquisition or two at the trade deadline. That's when I'll make this team is, going places, or I really think that's what's, I think they're going to be right there this year. I said they're going to be the last week of the season. They're going to be not eliminated from contention. And they may be leading the pack. Who knows? You never know what could happen. There's a possibility that the Dodgers falter and only win 95 games this year, and somehow the Giants win 96 and win the division. I don't think that'll happen, but that's not out of the realm.
Not at this point.
Yeah. Hey, guys, we're going to close up shop here. I appreciate you guys coming on. Tomorrow, the Giants have a 1:00 game. So,
very strange start time, especially with the travel for them.
I don't like it at all. I wished it was a 10 o'clock West Coast time start so the Giants could get to Anaheim at a reasonable time. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Another lefty.
Got the lefty going. And
it's not as bad flying back, though. You gain 3 hours. So you take off. It's a 5-hour flight, so it's really only losing 2 hours plus an hour. It's not as bad coming back as it is going out east.
Right. You do get that. You do get the 3 hours back. Yeah. So
from my experience, I completely agree.
Yeah, you were just there. All right. So tomorrow it is Jordan Hicks against Christopher Sanchez. Tough lefty on the mound for the Phillies. The Giants need to break through. Have they won a game yet with their all right-handed lineup? Or have all their losses been?
Great question, Dan.
I can't recall one.
No.
I know they've lost at least the last two. When did they? I think they did in Houston, didn't they? Didn't Casey play his first game, first base against
that
Houston?
third game.
Is that when they jumped on Valdez?
I think so. Yeah. So they did there. So let's hope tomorrow they can go for the series win. That would be awesome. And we'll come on tomorrow, I would say 3:45 to 4 o'clock, or maybe we'll just wait till, I don't know. What do you think, Lou? Do you think we ought to come on? Are most people available around 4, or is that's a tough time? You're muted, Lou. Did you comment?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a tough time. Most people work till 5. You're sneaking the game in. It's up to you, Dan. You're the boss.
Yeah,
I'll be ready.
It'll be a
to be announced
game time decision. We'll announce it. We'll see how it's going. How about this? Maybe if they win, I don't know. We'll see. This seems to be a good time around 6:37. So we'll figure it out. We'll put it out tomorrow, but we'll definitely be on one way or another. So appreciate you guys being here. Thanks again to our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Give them a call if you have any legal needs. And we will see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for being Dallas. Thanks for jumping in, deloading.
Deloading.
Thanks, Dan.
Dallas.
Thanks,
got a
Lou.
great voice. Dallas got a great voice. It's going to replace.
Yeah, you got that radio voice. Look at that setup.
Like it.
Is that a music studio too? You do music? Cool.
He does.
All right. That's nice. That's why it sounds so good too. Yeah, the voice. Dallas.
We just spotted who he is. Get me out of here. They know me now.
All right, guys, hit that like button on the way out. Appreciate it. Give it a like on the way out. Giovanni, you don't have to give it a like. Don't worry about it. Mitchell and Ness don't need your like, but if you want to give us a like, go ahead. So appreciate it. Go Giants. We can all agree. Go Giants, yes. All right. Let's close this out here. Oops, where'd my little... That's Lou whistling, not me. Good night, everybody.